it's important to make sure you cast the right person to play the bad guy. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 worst supervillain castings. Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we'll be focusing on actors that either didn't look the part, couldn't properly capture the character, or simply turned in a bad performance.
And I will be like a god to them.
A god named Sparkles?
Number 10, Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy, Batman and Robin.
Hey there, pretty birdie.
Give yourself up.
Poison Ivy is well known as one of the most seductive femme fatales in all of fiction. To bring the character to life on screen, it would require an edgy, captivating performance. However, Uma Thurman's depiction of Ivy turned out to be surprisingly tame.
I'll bring everything you see here, plus everything you don't.
Viewers criticized her portrayal for being too bland, and it certainly didn't help that Thurman completely lacked any on-screen chemistry with her villainous partner, Mr. Freeze.
I need the diamonds from my hideout.
I'll help you grab your rocks.
This failed temptress is just one more factor that makes Batman and Robin widely considered to be one of the worst superhero movies ever made.
Gotta go. So many people to kill, so little time.
Number 9, Samuel L. Jackson as the Octopus, the Spirit.
I'm the Octopus. I got 8 of everything.
Now, nobody is disputing that Samuel L. is a certified badass. However, while he is usually popular among audiences for his strong screen presence and intimidating persona, he surprisingly failed to make a good supervillain in this neo-noir Frank Miller flick.
Free-range chickens with their big brown ugly-ass eggs, they piss me off.
His performance was widely panned for trying too hard to be eccentric and overdramatic. It's a classic case of what should have been less is more.
That's just plain damn weird.
Jackson never needed to exaggerate the bad guy act in the first place, since doing what he naturally does would have been more than effective. Remember, if you're trying too hard to seem tough, audiences just ain't gonna buy it.
That all you got?
Number 8, Julian McMahon as Dr. Doom, Fantastic Four.
Susan, let's not fight.
No, let's.
The arch nemesis of the Fantastic Four is universally considered by comic book fans to be one of the most iconic and dangerous villains ever created. When actually casting this formidable evil genius, it is absolutely necessary for the actor to seem menacing. Unfortunately, while practically everything about this movie was criticized, McMahon in particular was singled out for lacking the necessary gravitas for this role.
I have 4 words. 4 little words that can change our lives forever.
He simply didn't have the screen presence and intimidation factor to really give audiences a proper Dr. Doom. When you need someone to take on 4 superheroes by himself, you're gonna want to cast a real heavyweight rather than a mild-mannered one.
I'll be right with you.
Number 7, Wes Bentley as Blackheart, Ghost Rider.
I have all of my father's strengths, and none of his weaknesses.
When the hero of the movie is a skeleton with a flaming skull that rides a motorcycle and wields a chain whip, the villain better be even more terrifying. As the spawn of a demon lord, Blackheart could easily have provided the menace this movie needed. However, Wes Bentley simply did not bring that fear factor to Ghost Rider.
My name is Legion, for we are many.
Bentley's portrayal was more whiny and petulant than threatening, leaving audiences underwhelmed with his casting choice. On top of this, he simply didn't look the part, and no matter how much his face was contorted with CGI, he never came across as intimidating.
Give it to me! Give it to me! Give it to me! Give it to me!
Number 6, Colin Farrell as Bullseye, Daredevil.
You're good, baby. I'll give you that. But me? I'm magic.
While much of the criticism of this movie was directed at Affleck's performance as Daredevil, Farrell's depiction of Bullseye was also derided. Bullseye is a tough guy, but in case you didn't know that, Colin Farrell makes sure to beat viewers over the head with that fact.
You. Let's play.
Everything from his grunting to his exaggerated expressions makes it difficult to take Bullseye seriously as a villain. A psychopathic killer can certainly be entertaining to watch when done right, but this is one performance that even Farrell himself admits was kind of over the top.
I missed. I never miss.
Number 5, Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze, Batman and Robin.
Let's kick some ice.
Longtime Batman fans know that Dr. Victor Fries is actually one of the most complex and nuanced villains in comics, a man whose heart has turned cold from tragedy. Normally a calculated and cerebral villain, it made absolutely no sense when the part was given to action hero Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Allow me to break the ice. My name is Freeze. Learn it well, for it's the chilling sound of your doom.
Whereas Arnie may have shined as one of the movie's other villains, like the muscle-bound henchman Bane, he is completely out of place as Freeze.
All right, everyone, chill.
It certainly doesn't help that half of Freeze's dialogue is composed of cringeworthy puns, but they're made all the worse by Schwarzenegger's corny delivery of them.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
Number 4, Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice.
You're psychotic.
That is a 3-syllable word for any thought too big for little minds.
In 2016, Warner Brothers took a huge risk turning Lex Luthor into a young tech geek, and it didn't really pay off. Rather than playing the role of the criminal mastermind straight, Eisenberg instead delivers a performance riddled with quirks and nervous tics.
The devils don't come from hell beneath us, no. No, they come from the sky.
In theory, playing Lex Luthor as an unhinged young man may seem like a unique take on the character. However, Eisenberg was criticized for trying a little too hard to seem insane, while at the same time failing to come across as a legitimate threat. In the end, audiences just didn't find that an evil version of Mark Zuckerberg was a worthy foe to a literal godlike superhero.
If man won't kill God.
2, 1.
The devil will do it.
Number 3, January Jones as Emma Frost, X-Men First Class.
Eric, I believe.
Although she's widely praised for her icy performance in Mad Men, it seems that January Jones's talents do not follow her to the big screen. Emma Frost is meant to be a vicious, seductive, and abusive character. On paper, January Jones has the looks and the persona, but something was kind of lost in the translation.
If that telepath gets inside your head, he won't be as much fun as I am.
While audiences loved the majority of the casting in First Class, January Jones was singled out as the notable exception. It's been said that she failed to bring any sort of life or allure to the character, instead portraying one of the sexiest people in comics as disappointingly wooden. According to critics, what could have been a perfect fit in theory turned out to be a total bust.
You can stop trying to read my mind, sugar.
You're never going to get anything from me while I'm like this.
Number 2, Cara Delevingne as Enchantress, Suicide Squad.
I am your ally, and I know what you want. Exactly what you want.
As a sorceress, Cara Delevingne's Enchantress certainly has the look of scary and sexy. However, beyond appearances, there's not actually all that much going on beneath the surface. She completely fails to bring any sort of personality to the character, and the entire time it feels as though she's simply playing a part rather than actually bringing a character to life.
Please, please. I'm sorry. I can't do that again.
Flag, get her out of here.
One of the biggest criticisms of Suicide Squad in general was that it was all style and no substance, and the same certainly applies to this underwhelming villainess.
I thought I killed you.
I thought I killed you.
Y'all don't mind.
Before we get to our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
You set me up.
No, I didn't set you up.
You lied to me.
And if I can't be like you, I'm gonna make her like me. And let's face it, once she's like me, then you wouldn't be very interested.
If this world must die, so that mine may live, so be it.
Number 1, Topher Grace as Eddie Brock / Venom, Spider-Man 3.
I like being bad. It makes me happy.
This is a case where the casting directors had the wrong idea from the very start. In the comics, Eddie Brock is the brawny and imposing counterpart to Peter Parker, and is even more large and menacing when he transforms into Venom. On the other hand, Topher Grace could easily be mistaken for Peter Parker himself.
Excuse me?
It's not that he turns in a poor acting job, it's simply that Topher Grace is not believable as one of Spider-Man's most physically imposing foes. While Grace plays the role to the best of his ability, audiences were set to be disappointed from the start by an actor who simply couldn't embody the character the way he was meant to appear in the comics.
Never wound what you can't kill.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.